We're live. Welcome everyone to another edition of Good Morning Arc.
Another riveting edition.
Another riveting edition, mainly hosted by myself, George Fox, the COO, and AJ is joining me today, who is our Chief Revenue Officer, and many other hats that he wears. So we will be covering some of the recent updates that we've got that we've been working on. It's been a pretty hectic start to the year, probably the busiest period I've experienced yet at the company. AJ, your feet are firmly under the door now. How are you getting on with your workload? How are you finding it?
I am fully integrated into many of the work streams in ARC so far. I feel like I've been here for a lot longer than I have already. That's how integrated I am.
Well, that's how stressful it is.
I'll tell you what, the current nature of like any startup, like trying to grow and expand, is something I'm accustomed to. So I would say that I'm a little, I've got my battle scars from previous endeavors, initiatives. So it's not enough to rattle me. This is just, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of exciting things going on. We're a team of 7 individuals focusing our attention in many different areas. So it's just very active, which is great. Honestly, I mean, it's better. First of all, it beats the hell out of being bored, and it's just great to have a lot to do.
Good, yeah. You could never be bored in this job. That's one thing. So today, going to go over a couple of sort of major topics. We'll dive into those topic by topic, and then we'll address questions that come in the Discord and YouTube going as we move through these major topics. I think we will start off with the Reactor closed beta testing. So for those of you aware or not aware, we have 25, give or take, entities testing the Reactor in a closed group, which is going really well at the moment. We have not had to support them a huge amount. We put a lot of work in from a background perspective, from guides and FAQs and pointers. So we haven't really had a huge amount back that has been manual sort of assistance from our side. So a lot of the testers like the product. We've got a lot of good feedback, couple of suggestions, but nothing major. And obviously then they have the new UI update for the Reactor, which will be coming. Hopefully it starts.
Big kudos to Logan for putting together all the training material. I think that's just a testament to his ability to kind of really map it to give people the blueprints to understand how the software works, how the Reactor functions. Kudos to Logan for putting that all together, our new head of product. So again, congrats to Logan. I think he was promoted in between our AMAs. So congratulations to Logan. He's taking on a larger leadership role, applying his skill sets to very important areas of the business. And that's
smirking there, AJ. You're smirking there like it's a lie.
What's that?
You're smirking as you're saying that. Yeah, Logan's other assets and stuff are smirking. Yeah.
No, there's no fallacy in what I just said.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a testament to him. His ability to kind of translate and put everything together in a really cohesive manner is, makes it easy for us because it doesn't require a lot of hands-on involvement in the training, which is great, or in the testing.
Yeah, agreed. His linking up with Henry has allowed to sort of breach that product area, whether it be guides and instructional manuals, or just understanding the nuanced technicality of the product. So it's been very useful having Logan in that position. So thank you. Yes, I echo AJ's smirky sentiments, Logan. It's been great having that side of things covered. So, but yes, joking aside, people have fed back. The process has been fantastic, and the onboarding went relatively smooth as well. What was that?
That was me.
You make it up?
I think I accidentally hit the AMA's channel where seems to be live music playing all the time.
Right. Okay, no one's listening. They just have got the music in the background. Okay, so yeah, so in short, closed reactor beta testing is going well. As more updates come, we will feed them back in to you guys through the newsletter. I will try and make that less cryptic going forward, and there's not much else to cover there. Working well, the development side of things, Henry's working on. He's nearly got the UI updates finished, which makes it look considerably slicker. And so we're very much looking forward to that, as well as the UI updates. There are also some library updates in there, and some other little tweaks which will be announced later on when that is due. But it is not just a UI update on that one. So that's very exciting from our point of view as we develop the product. So AJ, are there any questions in Discord or anywhere that you can see about the Reactor?
About the Reactor, looks like there's a question around sharing general information about how big interested parties are. Are there any top tier projects? If there's any general info, interested parties, I would say that the folks that are testing the Reactor represent companies you probably have already heard of or know about in a couple of different industries. So I think that's illustrative of just how applicable the Reactor is across different sectors of a number of different places. I'm not sure we can share specifically where, but the information we can give you is that these are household names, so you're familiar with them.
Yeah, I think that's probably about as far as you can go from a legal standpoint as well. So yes, it's exciting. It's exciting, but there's obviously a long way to go with that process as well. So so yeah, do we want to move on, AJ? I think it's probably there's not much more we could even say, even if there were questions at that stage. I don't think.
Sure.
It's going well. It's ongoing. So
yeah, another question here is, what's the main reaction to the pitch deck that's been sent out to interested investors? I will tell you this: the deck is actually getting traction. TJ and I are meeting with investors routinely now, which is great. So I think that basically says that the deck is communicating some of the value propositions and what we're bringing to the table. And when we do have these conversations with investors and we give them a live demo, it's been going very well. We're having second and third follow-up phone calls, and I'm getting emails left and right about people receiving the deck, which is great. So basically nailing meetings down and just making sure that we're still beating the pavement as hard as we can.
Agreed. Is that what I think that's what TJ is at the moment, isn't he, on a call? So yeah, okay, that's where we are with that, and obviously that's tied over into your area slightly with the sort of the fundraising element. So on to the stuff that I've been working on, which is the command console specifically. Obviously, this is where AJ. Obviously, this was before your time. Not being an old sweat like some of the community, this is where we cut our teeth essentially in this sort of element. So I have been working with Logan and one of the developers on two parts. We've been researching and thrashing about ideas about swaps 2.0, how we can make it more unique, how we can make ourselves better in what is already a relatively well-saturated space when it comes to swaps or decentralized swap applications. Even the aggregated forms, there are a few cropping up now, but we think we're onto a bit of a winner with that. We have come at it with a slightly different angle, utilizing the current tech that we have and also other little magical touches that we've sprinkled over the artistic creative network that we've got. So we that's coming along nicely. The Killer Whales and Whales Group will be the first to see drafts of that when it's up and ready, and the functionality that comes with it, and leading on from that to the console, which is what used to be the dashboard, which is that focal point for the command console for the whole of crypto in 3 clicks, that will be that we're working on next, because that was the bit that tied in the NFT marketplace, the farms, the bomb, the old bombs and staking and pools and the full works. So we're working on that, and the killer whales and whales have seen the first draft of that already. So a little bit of an incentive for them there. Nothing that's anything to do with trading, but just having their feedback from a community perspective is very useful and helpful as well. So I think that's been well received by themselves, and some of the ideas that they've fed back we already had listed down in sprints, and some were slightly different. So really, I think that's really useful. I mean, AJ, you've seen that process. I mean, in your experience developing, I know hardware has been something that you've worked in, as opposed to necessarily this sort of software element. But how important is it, do you think it is, to sort of have that feedback from the community?
It's very valuable for sure, because obviously our heads are down, banging against the same wall, developing what we believe to be important. In my time as a co-founder and as a leader of a business, taking customer feedback is really important to basically create tangible product offerings that are going to be important, used by the, lack of a better term, the end customer, the user. So it's very valuable, and the feedback has been really good so far. Obviously, these things are all being taken into account, because we want to develop very robust and highly developed solutions that the community finds value in. So it's been great.
And that's good. It's good to hear. So that process is moving on nicely. If you're not in the whales or killer whales channel, either find a way to get in there, or or you'll have to sort of wait out to see the sort of second, third iterations. But now's a good time. So, but it's working well, having that feedback, that back and forth. So we're confident that we can work on these two side by side. The swaps 2.0 is still in that sort of market phase, where we are thrashing out ideas. We're doing a lot of market research. We're covering across loads of different type of swap functions on loads of different chains with loads of different functions, and we're working out where we feel will be the best, and that will soon filter across into those whale channels. But the console, obviously, there was a lot of development work done on that back in the old day that was being parked. So it's not at square one. That is quite a long way down the line. As those of you who have been around long enough will remember, the limit orders you could place on centralized exchange through the dashboard. So all that tech is still there, and that's what we started to sort of unearth now, revisit, rejig, and see how we can, adapt that to the crypto landscape now, and any changes that need to be made. So that's sort of definitely got the creative juices flowing in the back of house. And Logan and myself have especially spent, a considerable amount of time on this, overseen by TJ, of course, on that. But that's working really well. Are there any questions? There probably are going to be some questions. I hope there are some questions about the command console. AJ, if I have a look in, I'll have a look in Telegram. If you have a look in Discord, if anything pops up.
None so far.
I've got nothing in Telegram.
My guess is that everyone's having a tough week. Not everyone's
I'll tell you how. Okay. There's nothing in Discord at all?
No.
Okay.
Really want to know if the console will be used to kick Sam out.
I don't need that to get rid of him. That can just come at any time. He is literally on his last warning. So past his last warning, in fact. So, no, Sam's very useful, very useful, very astute. And those of you who are in Telegram and Discord, you'll realize that he is probably the man with his finger on the pulse when it comes to answering questions. I'm very quick, and I rarely beat him to answering a question. So, no, joking aside, Sam's very important to us, and he fully is invested in the product as well. So he knows exactly what's going on, and when he doesn't, he is aligned with me. So,
There is a question here, like what are the main elements being tested in the private testing? How complete is the whole ARC reactor system? To answer that question, the entire software is available for testing. So every feature, every function, that's all available for testing. Obviously, we're not bifurcating or bucketing, specific aspects. We want the testers to get a full feel for everything. This gives us the ability to learn about how people are using it, whether the UI is efficient, button location, functionality, integrations. We want to know how everything is working. So the entire software is available for testing. Nothing's off limits. We want to know how everything is being used, what the feedback is. This in turn helps us improve the product for full product launch later this quarter. And yeah, we didn't pigeonhole ourselves or the private testers to any specific area. The entire program, the entire platform is open.
AJ, you must be aging faster than I am, because I've just gone on Discord and seen a load of questions that you've missed, young man, from higher up, from the 8th. You see, so there's quite this. So I will start with, we've kind of answer sarcasm's questions. Ballpark figure. Yeah, I've said that. Yeah, I've mentioned that one. Applications will procurement and supply chain companies have for blockchain? What applications will procurement and supply? Oh, I mean, I've been doing some research on this. In October last year, the UK government passed an electronic bill, a digitalization of basically the bill of lading system that works in the UK, and they are trying to bring some form of digital implication to that neck of the woods. To just give you an example, if you read up on this subject, you'll find that I think the International Chamber of Commerce, they worked out that if the shipping container industry, just that part of the supply chain logistics element of the world's logistics, if 50% of that went onto digitized bills of lading and tracking systems that were based on sort of digital blockchain or other technology, that they would save $4 billion a year. Just 50% of that. So I can't speak for the entire sort of industry, because it's a very broad question there, but specifically there are some areas that we can't go into yet that the technology can work with in that sort of supply chain scope. But I can't really go into any more detail at this stage. But the technology is definitely there, and there are some discussions directly with Henry from his network about the role that can play in that sort of technological evolution in supply chain logistics. I mean, worst case scenario is TJ jumps on here and actually just starts like reading off alpha to people, but we'll see what happens with that. Like, there's a chance like he's going to read that, and just like a red rag to a bull, he's just going to be flying on here in a minute. So, but yeah, there is a massive implication. There's a massive real world implication for supply chain logistics, specifically with game theory and what Henry's doing, and specifically with that's tied in potentially to that teaser announcement as well. So yes, a big part of what the technology can do. That's what I'm going to say. I'll draw the line there. There'll be more to come on that though. How is development swaps 2.0 going? Kind of covered it. Are you confident for a Q2 release? Yes. Can you leak some UI accepted screenshots? If you're a whale, you'll get to see that. If not, then you won't.
There's one way to see them right now, which is become a whale.
Yeah, become a whale. That's obviously they will eventually come out, but no time soon. Not for the general populace, just purely because there'll be a lot of back and forths. It's not a dig, but obviously there's got to be some sort of rewards for people who make that extra step. And I'm not encouraging anyone to make that step. I'm just saying that's the rules. Is ARC planning to onboard new team members as Reactor rolls out in general in 2023 as momentum keeps building? Yes. let's be completely honest, Captain Pessimism here. As much as I would like this to be the start of the next bull market, we cannot just start throwing cash at positions. Marketing still has a very limited scope and reach at the moment, as does business development. And AJ, coming from a very traditional business background, knows and has experienced how long sometimes these things can take. So, I mean, AJ, do you want to, or you can argue with me if you want, but what's your viewpoint? My viewpoint is, and this is what we've been pushing onto the company, is that we are very sensible still with our expenditure, and that we don't overstep ourselves. In short,
I would fully echo that as well. I mean, obviously we have a hiring plan. There are dominoes that need to fall before those things occur. We're working very strategically. This is not an operation where we're shooting from the hip. There's plans in place. There's a hiring plan. We've identified a number of individuals that we want to hire in their roles. So yeah, the team will expand for sure in the right time and done strategically.
From our point of view, obviously we're wearing many hats, so that allows us obviously to offload huge chunks of responsibility. But like AJ said, strategy is everything in this, and that is not a way to go. Just endlessly hiring people. How does ARC compare to GLQ? Logan and I have had this discussion. GLQ and Crank we were looking at as well. I have a specific section. In fact, whilst I'm talking about this, Logan, can you, because I know you're in the background lurking, could you copy that verbatim discussion we had and pop it in our private channel, and then I will read that out completely, because I know Logan and I had a back and forth of this, maybe an hour's worth of going through and finding these other projects that looked like they were doing similar things, but it was not the case. The long and the short of it is they do the gimmicky no-code stuff, and ours is a lot more high-tech programming language, but it gives something for Logan to do as I move on to the next question. Here we go. Perfect. The Arc Reactor doesn't focus on a low no-code in the same way as other low no-code platforms. We've created an ecosystem that doesn't limit your flexibility. The entire Solidity language is mapped into editable diagrams, allowing developers to do anything with our diagrams. The node-like system used by teams such as GraphLink and Crank is not comparable to the system driving our diagrams. Due to the way we interpret Solidity, we are able to map entire ecosystems out ecosystems out into editable diagrams. So there's a second part, but when you see the diagrams, it's not just a gimmick we've just taken Solidity and made it look a different way. It is its own programming code. It just looks that way because that's what your mind tells you. We've gone from the lines of code into a diagram, but it's so much more. It's so much cleverer than that. Hence why we've got these individuals that of professor level IQ that are very interested in the product from that supply chain logistics perspective, purely because of what's been achieved. There's absolutely no way TJ's not going to jump on this call in a minute, AJ, because I've taken us to the line of alpha 4 or 5 times in 4 or 5 different occasions, and it's going to be killing him if he sees this. So due to the way we interpret Solidity, we're able to map entire ecosystems out to editable diagrams from on-chain data such as bytecode. Not only does this give devs an easy access to visual representations of projects, but it also allows them to expand upon those. As I said, we can't compare these two, as one approach is no compromises and the other is simply a no-code tool. I hope that's answered it for you, and it's not us looking to slander or discredit other projects, but it's just not quite the same. It looks the same or looks similar to the human eye when you just skim across it, but it's not the same.
I think the biggest difference I would say is, low code, no code platforms, they allow you to like pick and choose and drag and drop certain elements into your own code base, which is very different from what we do. Obviously, we can ingest anything, very similar to no code, low code programs, but with our own proprietary language, we are able to diagrammatically map how the code is functioning from a dependency point of view as well as an editing point of view. So when you basically have tens or thousands of lines of code or hundreds of lines of code, that's all illustrated in coding language. What we do, we not only have that, but we also translate that code diagrammatically to show how the functions are interoperable or how they are cooperating with each other diagrammatically. So this enables individuals to code traditionally or to build and develop anything they'd like diagrammatically as well. So you can read both of these, you can read the code both ways. So if you come from a more of a novice background, perhaps diagrams are a very easy way for you to understand what you're building. If you come from a more traditional, weathered, experienced programming background, you may want to design and build your product solutions, dApps, line by line. And then Arc, what the Reactor does is translate that code and maps it diagrammatically so you can see how everything is functioning from a full perspective without having to go through line by line by line. The benefit of this is that if there's an error or break or potential exploit in what you've created, the Reactor shows you visually where that's occurring and how it's occurring. Usually if something happens in a simulated environment and the code breaks, you'd have to comb through that code line by line by line to understand and determine where that error has occurred. What we do is we cut that entire process out and show individuals right there on the screen exactly what's happening and why it's happening. With the use of the AI that we're implementing, we can actually implement and suggest bespoke code given a specific project that's being developed by an individual and actually show solutions to solve the problem. No one else has this. This is an amazing value proposition that we're offering. So that's a major difference. We're a low code, no code type of platform on the novice end, but any skilled developer can come in and build anything they want from scratch.
Perfect. No, I'm not in a steam room, Justin. It's just a blurry background. It's all the code on the walls and secret stuff you can't see. I can't show people. So yes.
The police background. Sorry, I have CNBC on in the background. I want to keep up with the markets.
I'll get some shit about being out in the shed. Let's have a little look on Telegram. There's a few. Any movements on Telegram? Any questions? Nope, nothing at all. Telegram's dead.
I got a question here. What's the expected testing phase? When's it end? What are the next steps? And what's the final subscription model going to look like? Our private beta testing is running about 30 days, maybe a little bit more than a month, depending on what people are building. Next phases from that, we're requiring all private testers to provide us with feedback. We have a developed form where they can any comments, questions, concerns, feedback, requests, anything like that. We'll go through a synthesization process where we'll take everything, review it, determine what we can implement immediately, what we can adjust, build it into the pipeline in terms of our development roadmap, make any adjustments. From there, we will open up a open beta test, and that's when anyone can basically apply to use the Reactor. With regards to a subscription model, we are basically looking at offering a free version of the Reactor. This way we can onboard and have more people using the solution. There will be, obviously people can pay to deploy their contracts if they just want to use it to poke around and see what the functionality is, how efficient it is. We want as many people to use it as possible. So we're revamping the subscription model a little bit to be a little bit more inclusive for individuals that want to use it and play around with it without having to pay an initial subscription fee. Obviously, if they want to use the Reactor to deploy whatever it is they're building, they can do so, and they'll just pay a very small fee to do that for that service.
And the onboarding that will encourage more people. As a barrier to entry, you get people flooded.
Just reducing barriers to entry, make it more accessible, give people more options of how they want to use it.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, good morning, guys.
I'll just good morning. I'll just mute my mic. How's it going, TJ? How was that call?
It's It's going good. It was great. It was
Good.
great.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So I'm not sure how much you've heard or what we've covered, but we've gone through the sort of closed beta testing updates, the command console stuff. So specifically looking at swaps and the console, and we've answered a few questions in and around. And actually, funny you say that. AJ, I think, has touched on it by accident, and I don't think anyone's picked up on it yet, personally. But yeah. So
Well,
specifically, the question. Sorry, in fact, before you say anything, specifically the question that came up was about supply chain logistics. So I kind of went into a little bit, but I didn't want to steal your thunder on that. And also, you've been a little bit more intricately placed with those sort of conversations that have happened. So, I mean, it's your show, so have at it with regards to how much you want to delve into that.
okay. Well, first of all, I want to say hi, Grande. Thanks for attending. I see that you said hi to me. Appreciate that. Quickly, before I move into any of those other topics, like supply chain logistics and the other thing, I want to reiterate that even though there's going to be a free tier to the Reactor, users are going to end up paying us more money because they're going to pay every time they deploy a contract. And then every time a user registers, even if they're under the free tier, we're still going to be staking ARC on our end. And that's 10,000 ARC per account. And of course, a user can stake more to access more discounts on their deploy fees. But yeah, George, moving into supply chain logistics, I don't want to dive too deep into it, but there is a very tenured professor out of Germany who has contracts with some large multi-billion-dollar companies and banks, and essentially he's been trying to work on a supply chain mapping system for years now that could map an entire supply chain and make it composable. You can edit your supply chain from one place. You can digitize all of the legal documents inside the supply chain and all the serial numbers. And essentially, he's been working on this for years, right? And they needed a missing piece, and that missing piece is potentially the Reactor. When the guy saw it, he was blown away. I'm not gonna do any name drops, but it's a pretty big deal. I mean, these people are funded directly by some major players in the space. Like a guy, his first name starts with a V, his last name starts with a B.
We're at that stage now where we're
So
just dropping letters. Yeah.
yeah, I want it to be locked in action plan over the next 3 to 6 months before I say anything. But like I said, these guys are directly contracted by multi-billion-dollar companies to create a supply chain logistics system, and the Reactor is exactly what they need. It's the missing piece. So, yeah.
These are the guys who are developing their game theory in Julia, the programming language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're using a new branch of game theory. It's called compositional game theory. And yeah, the idea is to just streamline a lot of business processes using digital NFT versions of goods, like taking the serial numbers, the SKUs, tokenizing them onto the blockchain, and same with legal documents. And for all the degens listening to this, basically what this means is if we lock this in, we're going to be churning revenue with multi-billion-dollar partners, and we could make a decent amount of money if we lock this partnership in. So very huge.
Yes, very much so. So yes, hopefully that answers that supply chain logistics question as well, and gives a bit more feedback than.
Where was that asked?
That was Titus of all people. Who'd have thought? He must be going back to school or something like that. No, I'm joking, honestly. But I don't know where that came from. I genuinely don't know where that came from. It wasn't staged question from me or anyone. It just came out of the blue. But yeah, interesting. And that there is, you know, some form of tie there with the announcement as well. I have said TJ, I have teased them a little bit further, but I stopped there. But it's exciting. It's exciting times. There's so much going on.
Said it was in our
Like AJ
newsletter.
said. What did he say? Sorry.
It was in our newsletter.
Oh, I knew that, but not to the level that you've had the answer for. Put it that way.
Oh yeah.
No. So yeah, more of that. So TJ, go on. Anything else you've been working on that you want to that you can talk to the community about? Like I said, unfortunately, we've covered most of the major topics, but as far as any high level stuff, anything else that you can release to these guys who aren't whales or killer whales?
Well, because I was busy, did you guys, if you talked about all of crypto in 3 clicks?
Yeah, we mentioned that with regards to the sort of the console and the tech that exists, and how we're not at square one, and we're going back to that sort of that concept that we created, you know, with all the, you know, that central dashboard that will now be called console. So yeah, we mentioned it, but please go over again. You'll probably
Well, I wanted to reiterate to the community that we never meant to abandon former products. We all know former products. We had over 50,000 lifetime users. We had over $200 million in volume generated. And with the Reactor, we're actually more capable than ever of delivering on the original promise of trade all of crypto in 3 clicks. And with the Reactor coming out and us having all kinds of companies with inside beta testing, we're going to be able to develop that developer community to really take that console and execute on it to the next level. So I'm excited about that. I think the Reactor is going to streamline a lot of our roadmap. But yeah, did we answer Fisher Broyles in here? I see someone asked about Fisher Broyles.
No, we haven't. We didn't get to that. You jumped in, so you're probably the best person to answer that one as well.
So Fisher Broyles, they're a law firm. They have a vast array of experience. They have huge teams all throughout the world. Our lead there, for example, is a guy that he was the legal counsel for CrossFit all the way from the ground up. CrossFit is a multi-billion-dollar company today. He's also a blockchain COO for Deepak Chopra, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with. And some of the lawyers we worked with there were, the guys that put together the original Uniswap offering document. That they're guys that build structures for huge companies in the space to make sure they stay compliant.
Cool. So I'm just giving Sam his last warning. Can you ban the moderator? I'll have to. So cool. Decent's happy with that answer. Any more? Now googling German professors. Sam is the ringmaster of most of this stuff we've got to deal with. You know that. It's like a double-edged sword. Answers the questions for us, but causes enough drama. Anyway.
Did they answer Jag? About who's interested in the Reactor?
Yes, we did. Yes, we can't specifically mention. We gave them the number of people, and we said AJ said that they are people that they would be aware of, but we can't really go into any more detail. And we've said that loads of times. They just keep trying their luck. I think. Yeah. So yeah, it's been, like I think you'll agree, TJ, isn't it? It's been an absolute flying off the starting blocks for 2023. These first sort of like 40 days have been crazy busy, but probably the most enjoyable for me. I think probably this last sort of month has been just purely because of the opportunities, I think, and obviously the where we are with the development process on the reactor, and obviously then reinvigorating, which was always the plan, like you said. The DeFi ecosystem was always part of the plan, and it was always in the roadmap. I just think people, I think maybe thought we were paying lip service a bit too much to it. So, yeah, I've had a very enthused time for my last 30 days. So yeah, it's been great. It's been really good. So, is there anything else that you guys wanna add? Are there any more questions? I'm having a look around here.
Is there any way we could bring people on stage? Would we want to do that?
Logan? I'm not sure. Let me have a little look. Any more questions? Is there more questions here? Yes, they can join the link. Did you want them to share it, TJ? Do you want Logan to share that link?
Yeah, and then we can vet people. But I want to talk about AI a little bit.
Okay. Continue.
Logan, can you share the link in the AMA questions?
Logan says he's logged out. Okay, I'll do it. I'll move that. I'll move it. 2 seconds, TJ. I'll put it in Discord in the AMA questions. Okay, guys, if you want to come up on stage, you obviously don't have to have your camera on. If you're living in your mum's basement or whatever and you're embarrassed, it's not a drama. You haven't got to come on camera, but we'd love to have someone up. I'm joking. We'd love to have someone come up and talk and ask questions. They're like, we've never shied away from any questions, and we won't now. So it would be great to have a conversation. And TJ has literally just said he wants to talk about a specific thing. So
yeah, is that Andre in the lobby? No, I'm kidding. Well, yeah, I saw a thread in general earlier, and this is kind of like a recurrent theme for whatever reason. There's a lot of, because the market has experienced a little bit of a rally, which I just think it's taking a breath because it dropped far too low. There's a couple people that were a part of our community that are no longer necessarily part of the community, or they're looking at Jizz token and thinking that the grass is greener in other pastures, and and that's just not the case. There's a reason why these guys weren't developing during the bear market. They didn't put the heart and soul into creating these projects and delivering value like we have this entire time. And we're doing nothing but continuing to build value and building it at a faster rate than ever before. But as far as the AI, yes, I get what Andre is saying here. I read through his comment. He said AI and blockchains don't mix. AI naturally uses a gigantic database, which storing it on a blockchain would cost a whole heck of a lot of money. And every time you wanted to talk to the AI, it would cost money. That's with your typical large language model and your traditional AI models. There's actually some people on the cutting edge developing AI out there that is extremely lightweight. It's isometric. It can be on a mobile device. It could be on your laptop, on your desktop, on your watch, on your microwave, on a drone, on a satellite. And this AI is evolutionary based. It can learn a lot faster. And I'm not going to dive too deep into the details, but there's AI out there right now that within the next 3 or 4 quarters could be put on chain. It doesn't have to rely on an API like a lot of these AI projects out here that are simply using ChatGPT. Yeah, and
yeah, it's pretty crude, isn't it? ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So
well,
yeah.
I mean, philosophically speaking, Chat GPT, it's really good search engine. Essentially, it's a really good database. What it does is it guesses the next word really good. There's AI out there that when it studies the data, it will serialize all of the information, so it actually understands it.
Right. So you're saying that ChatGPT doesn't learn itself without any form of human input and added tweaking. It is just guessing the probability of the next word.
It's
by scraping the
regurgitating
internet.
what
Yeah,
it's
by
scraped.
scraping. Yeah.
Yeah, but say that someone had access to next level AI, and then someone had access to something like the Reactor. What you could do, instead of scraping the internet, scraping random code that's out there line by line, you could use diagrams. So when you train the AI, its outputs are going to be a lot more performant. They're going to be a lot more applicable to what you're doing, and the AI will learn much faster. Because if you imagine, let's say, for example, someone's using a Reactor now, we all know that you're well over 100 times faster. We took GMX, we forked it, we added code to it, and we deployed it to ZK rollup in 20 minutes. Well, now imagine you have AI that scrapes all the different blockchains, and then it works with technology like the Reactor. How much faster that would be, and how much
Just
that would streamline.
Imagine that. Like, if someone was to think of that, that would be clever. So.
Anyways, do you have anyone trying to hop on stage?
No. No. No one.
That's sad.
One of these days.
Hey, at least I remember some AMAs in the past. People would hop on and they'd cuss you out or something.
yeah. At least they'd have the balls to do it on camera or on audio. I just get Sam Malone just in the chat winding everyone up. So yeah, I mean, can't have it all. So
any stablecoin questions?
Any stablecoin questions? What?
TJ's being sarcastic.
Hey Jay. Oh right, okay. Yes, about our token price. We've got a couple of people typing at the moment. Oh no, we got someone on the We Are the Champions is in the voice of Discord.
Oh no, that's not where you're supposed to hop in.
Server muted. Let me see if I can just put it in again. That's the link, and then then Logan will should allow you in, I think.
Please, nothing on video that will get us kicked off YouTube.
Yeah, preferably.
I'm a married man.
You get us kicked off YouTube, then you miss out on the opportunity of seeing George's pretty face on a daily basis.
Hey.
How's it going?
Everything okay?
Yeah, doing great.
I was just walking my dog while hearing the AMA, and you guys have been amazing so far. So I don't have any other questions. Just keep it rolling.
Alrighty.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see put a face to a name after all this time.
Okay. Yeah, we'll come up next time around.
Perfect. You're welcome anytime.
Hey, eventually we'll all meet in person.
Yes. In Aruba.
Eventually.
The one. Brilliant.
Sounds like a plan.
Do you have any questions?
Are you sure you don't?
Not right now. No. I dropped it in the Discord, and you have been answering them. I think we are all looking forward to hear some more about the put in place of the Reactor technology, but I know that you can't answer a lot of the questions right now, so we will keep hearing for the next weeks.
Beautiful, yeah. We'll keep you updated.
Yeah, we will do our best to keep you guys as updated as possible.
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect.
So thank you.
Ready.
Amazing. That's a first. That is a first. AJ, we've never had that. We've never had anyone come
I
on
love
video.
that. That was
I
great.
can't think it. We've had audio before, but never video.
I like that. Maybe we'll make that a
yeah.
prerequisite from now on. You want to come on the AMA? Videos on. We got to see some. We got to see some faces.
Yeah. There are people wearing loads of masks and stuff, trying to keep themselves undoxed. That'll be the next. That'll be the next one.
Right.
It's all right. I've already doxed Sam where he lives as well. So if he keeps chops enough, I'll just put his address out on the internet. So
let's not do that.
No.
Let's not be. Let's not give out addresses.
I'm joking. Obviously, or am I, Sam? So yeah, are there any other questions, guys? Has anyone got any other questions before we wrap this up? We're 8 minutes shy of an hour. I think we'll let. We do. What is the revenue split between ARC token holders and investors in the new seed round?
So I can take this on if you'd like to.
Yeah. Go for it. Go for the whole spiel, because I think they're getting a bit confused here.
So we have that ecosystem modeling that AJ and I built up before. Essentially, the idea here is that ARC or investors in a seed round are going to receive ARC tokens over time. And through those ARC tokens, through a period of 2 years, and through those ARC tokens, they're going to be able to share in the revenue that the ARC company generates through Stark. And then as far as the equity holders themselves, if they want a direct dividend in the future, if the fiat revenue of the reactor gets high enough, which means the revenue that's coming directly through the bank account and not through our DeFi ecosystem, there'll be a dividend paid directly to the equity holders through that. But the reason why tokens are part of that is so they can take part in Stark, and of course accessing revenue through the Stark token in the future.
Yeah. Otherwise, you think about the not revenue share, the reward scheme would take away from dividend rewards, so it wouldn't be as beneficial for them. So the way it is allows them to reap those rewards from their potential investment as well. So yeah, does that answer the question? I'll let them come back on that. And no, nothing else at the moment. So TJ, do you want to? I've got nothing else to say for once. Do you want to, AJ? Have you got any passing comments from the MA?
No more gems, alpha, words of wisdom on my part. I tend to lean closer to our contracts and legalities than anything else. So generally, my mouth will be tighter than the most.
And that's why we love you. TJ, I've got nothing to say. TJ, do you want to round this one off?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see anyone asking questions that are relevant anymore. I think we covered all the good ones. Did we talk about expanding the team at all?
We did
2.0.
We briefly mentioned that, but obviously I was cautious with regards to the macroeconomic climate. I said, it's all very important we don't overstretch ourselves. But obviously, that is a part.
Everything's being done strategically. We have a plan in place. George and I are working on a daily basis now, putting in some foundational structural elements to make sure that we can grow sustainably and meaningfully. So everything has a time and a place and a process. We're taking this very seriously, and we want to make sure it's all done sustainably.
Great. Is there a way we could put our link on the YouTube so this Paul guy could hop on? And then I'm going to talk about the Block 2.0 real quick and expansion plans. So Feek Adams asked this. So we do have a plan in place, like AJ and George were saying. And as far as expanding the team is concerned, that's part of the reason why we're raising money. We're raising money for an 18-month runway. We have talent on the sidelines, essentially waiting to be hired as soon as we raise money. I mean, I know off the top of my head, there's two different, I'm not going to say what they have their PhDs in, but there's two people with PhDs at the top of their field, published several journals, people from Henry's older career side of things that are on a similar level that want to join the company. So that's exciting. Obviously, we'll be able to execute on more of these verticals at the same time once our raise is through and these people join. We're not going to have to wait months and months and months to find people. Henry's worked with them in the past. And then as far as development of Swaps 2.0, stay tuned. We can maybe leak some UI and UX screenshots. That's going well. It's very smooth. I'll just say that it's very smooth. And
we did. What I did say was that that the whales and killer whales have, they're part of that sort of feedback process. Not to try to convince anyone to become a whale or a killer whale. I just said that if they wanted to get that information, that's where they would go.
It comes with its benefits.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I said.
But we're not encouraging you to become a killer whale.
No, do not spend money on anything. Cool. AJ in the corner, he's wincing, you two can just shut up. Just shut up. Stop talking. Yeah. That's why we have you on these calls, AJ. I just look across at you and I gauge from your face how far I've crossed the line. TJ doesn't even bother at this stage, I don't think. So yeah.
I'm still becoming adjusted to being a public-facing individual.
Hey, Paul.
I'm still becoming adjusted to being a public-facing individual. Oh, we got a slight delay.
Yeah. Paul, are you on YouTube watching us?
I'm still becoming adjusted to being a public-facing individual.
Paul, are you on YouTube watching us?
I'm still becoming adjusted to being a.
What is that? Is it a soundboard?
If I didn't like the sound of my voice already, that just really hit it home.
Oh God.
Is that a soundboard or is that a delay? What was your questions about AI, Paul?
Sorry, are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Good.
Yeah, sorry. It's the first time I'm hopping in a AMA YouTube business, so I'm not too familiar with it, but cool. It's not so much questions. It's just, first of all, guys, thanks for all the hard work you guys are putting in. I have a lot of faith in what you guys are doing. I can feel the vision. I just tried to reach the whale level and got knocked down by some bots. So I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna have to get some more money and keep pushing. But that's all good. I'm really happy to be investing in this because I see the potential. But with AI, especially, just kind of seeing things like BitTensor and like how they're looking at AI and that project is absolute insanity if it comes to fruition. And I was thinking about that a lot because I've, through the Discord and whatnot, had talked a little bit with you, TJ, about AI and can AI be a competitor to us? But I'd rather not it be a competitor, but be, a partner in how we do
symbiotic.
Exactly. I think there's some real opportunity there, and I'm anxious and excited to hear how that's all going to work with the reactor. Has there already been tests run with some AI?
Yes. And some of the initial use cases for the AI would be suggesting code fixes. So let's say someone uploads code, there's errors, or you're generating new source code and it creates errors. The AI would suggest fixes to that. Another example would be providing broken dependencies. So sometimes you'll upload off GitHub and most projects claim to be open source, but they'll really hide some files so the project doesn't work. If the AI scrapes the internet, it'll be able to provide those broken dependencies. And then the third and fourth part of that, and this is something we released a long time ago, what it would look like, potential use cases, George, would be a plain text generation. So let's say you type, I want to build an NFT marketplace. the AI, for example, would provide OpenSea, Rarible, Nifty, and then you type, I want lazy minting in my marketplace, the AI would present X2, Y2's version of that.
Right.
And then, of course, the final and nth version of it, that would be awesome, would be the AI being able to automatically combine repos that you fork. So let's say you want to develop the next generation, or let's say we want to, if AI was possible with the reactor, we would use it to build the console. Well, how do we do that faster? Hypothetically, we would shop around Uniswap, SushiSwap, OpenSea, all of these different contracts, and then the AI would be able to combine them naturally so they fit together and without breaking any dependencies or errors.
Right. And the AI would be like integrated in the reactor, right? It's something that's like part of the whole thing, right?
Yes. Hypothetically, if we were to use an AI, it would be integrated directly into the reactor. But in the future, it could also expand into its own vertical. If you think about AI that's light enough to be on chain, you could have a decentralized superintelligence, which is, I don't, this is a whole tangent here, but I don't think that AI should be centralized. I think it should be decentralized. And
Right. Well,
with an
that's
AI
what
that's,
the
yeah,
tensor kind of idea is to, I don't know how familiar you are with it. I'm sure you've
mm-mm.
looked into
I've
it.
heard of them a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, their ticker is Tau. But if you look into their project and listen to some of their AMAs, they are looking to use, basically everyone's computer as the massive
Oh,
decentralized.
wow.
It's a massive endeavor that, like I said, if it's pulled off, it's huge. They're hoping to reduce costs for like companies like, Google and everyone else
Hmm.
to not have to keep paying these, billions of dollars to keep, feeding it information, and it learns off of everyone else's information.
What does
And
it run on a local computer? So will it use the GPU or like the hard drive to store the AI?
it's a good question. I don't know in depth. I couldn't answer that question, and I'm not highly technical, but just kind of listening to their
Hmm.
concept of how they're running it. Anyways, if you
I
have some
like what I'm
time, I
seeing.
suggest
Yeah.
like digging into it, because it's a really, they are trying to do the same. They don't want entities to own AI. AI should just be a fully
Yeah.
open learning for anyone who wants to use it. And how they're looking to do that is by, you purchase the token and you put it into it in order to be able to access using it. Just
Hmm.
same as we have with the reactor.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if you if you look at the wealth gap, and inflation, once if AI isn't done right and it becomes centralized,
Yeah, we're screwed
uh, well,
as
the elite at
humanity.
the top, they're not going to need is it's gonna, the separation is gonna go even wider.
Exactly, and that is I think that is something that we're on the cusp of. So that's why I'm interested with how the reactor is going to use it, because it it could open it up to a broader use case.
Yeah, well, and sort of what with what BitTensor, and this is, I'll close off on this, what they're doing right now, they're really lightweight, right? They want that AI to be decentralized, and they want to discount fees for these large companies. If you look at the reactors code, and like you said, you're not super technical, it's, we sit behind a specialized layer of technology, and the reactor is extremely lightweight. So all of the power you see behind it, all these demos and etc., um, we do them in another way, to where we don't generate a ton of fees through centralized servers. And I'll leave it off at that, but stay tuned
Right.
in the future. We're already, I would say, BitTensor could be a potential partner.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, to shy away from using anyone else's like servers would be the way to do it, I imagine. So, anyways, listen, it's very interesting what you guys are doing. Like I said, I'm deep into it, and I'm following you guys very closely. Thank you for all the hard work. Keep pushing hard. I want this to explode over the next few years. So thanks again.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks
See
for
ya.
joining us.
Cheers, Paul. Thank you. Cool. Well, I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover there, and some, at the expense of unraveling a month's worth of marketing, and some. I think now would be a good.
You know, some of the stuff we've released in our we've already released in our roadmap before. It's just people haven't really decided to unpack it yet.
Correct. Or the newsletter.
Yeah, if you're a detective, you can put some pieces together. There's some breadcrumbs in there to kind of let you know what we have in mind.
It's a lot easier to be pessimistic, but if you look at our tech stack, I mean, being optimistic is it's the way to go, and just realize the difference between where we're at with our tech and where everyone else is. There's a major gap, and it just has to be realized through adoption, which a lot easier to do that than to create it in the first place.
Agreed. Right, well, just over an hour. TJ, you good? AJ, good?
I'm good.
I just dropped
Awesome.
one of my favorite GIFs in the AMA channel.
Oh, God.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm a big fan of that show, being from Philadelphia.
Nice. I've been watching that. You know that Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds bought Wrexham Football Club in North Wales. Yeah, I've been watching that on it and on Disney. It's quite good. But,
you know, I'll leave it off on this. I think we talked about a lot, maybe a little bit too much, like you're saying, George.
Where's TJ's mute button? Where's his mute button?
cut the stream.
Logan,
with that,
cut his mic.
With that GIF you sent, hey, if people want to start piecing together stuff that we've dropped, because we have dropped things cryptically, just no one has bothered to really dive into it yet. If you start piecing those together and posting your thoughts in general, whoever gets the closest, I will, over time, I'll send him some arc.
Yeah, put it on Twitter as well. Let's see what kind of detectives we have out there.
Come on, TJ.
Yeah, find a hashtag behind it.
Okay, 3 clicks.
Always Sunny in Arc.
Nice.
It's always Sunny in Arc.
Yeah, I mean, except when you, I don't really want to.
Okay, and on that note,
say no more.
It's going to happen. Yeah, awesome. TJ, thank you for dropping in. Sorry, I'm glad your call finished earlier than it was planned to. Always, AJ, a pleasure to have you.
These are fun. I enjoy it.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good to let you laugh every now and then.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in today, everybody. Just continue to read our newsletters, be involved in the community, and keep that hope up, because we've been working extra hard through this entire bear market, and we're continuing to work even harder. So continue to tell people about the Reactor, continue to ask questions, and we won't shy away from any of it. We consider you guys part of our team in an extended sense, and just love having you guys here. Thanks, everyone, and thank you, Yoda and Paul, for hopping on today.
Yes, amazing. Thanks very much, guys. See you in the next one.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.